There it is!
Guys, I've got you coming up on target. Can you confirm?
Copy that, RetroThinker. We are coming in smooth over Mount Kardov.
How's your cloud cover?
Not great, but we can get pretty high up.
Well, keep an eye out. You guys are technically in Russian airspace. We don't need an international incident on top of everything else.
How fun is it that the Russians are the bad guys again? I missed that.
I know, right? It's like I never left the late 80s.
Can we maybe concentrate on the mission here?
You tell me, Anti-Thinker. You and RetroThinker are the ones who found this place.
It was really more of a lucky mouse click than anything.
Either way, it checks out. Multiple expeditions to find the Lost Cross over the years all started in the caverns under the dormant volcano at Mount Karnov.
And you're sure there's no lava down there, Chief?
Yes, it's been dormant for decades, but if there is something down there related to the Lost Cross, there's no telling what could be down there with it. Traps, vid spawn, it could be anything.
Which is why you're making me make the jump.
You are the strongest of us, Anti-Thinker.
And you're sure that thing is a suitable substitute for a parachute?
Absolutely.
Because if it's not, I'm gonna kick your fucking...
Oh, hey, look at the time.
Oh. Shit!
Blunt object is in the wind. Repeat, blunt object is in the wind. Do you copy, RetroThinker?
Copy that. How long until he...
Oh, shit!
What?
The topical alert just went off.
That means someone in the video game industry did something topical and or stupid.
Please don't be Penny Arcade again. Please don't be Penny Arcade again. Please don't be Penny Arcade again. Please don't be Penny Arcade again.
No. Nintendo.
Details?
Nix on gay marriage and Tomodachi Life. Yeah, looks like they backtracked, but pretty damaging.
You want to take it up on remote, boss?
I think this requires a little more attention and nuance than I can give from up here, Ivan. RetroThinker?
Yes, sir.
You do it.
Me? Overthinker, are you sure?
You'll do fine, RetroThinker.
Sir, to be fair, he hasn't done a full show since before he was frozen.
All the more reason to get back on the horse.
I guess.
You'll be fine, RetroThinker. I believe in you.
Okay. Ivan, credits?
Here they come.
Hi. If you're one of the party poopers who skips the story parts of this show, I'm the RetroThinker. I was frozen around 1990 and awoke only a couple of years ago, so I'm a little behind the times.
That's right. Certain things about our modern world are strange and confusing to him, often with humorous results.
And yet for some reason, Ivan, I'm perfectly okay with.
Our mythos doesn't make much sense.
In any case, so things like gay marriage, for example, caught me completely by surprise. I'm not against it or anything, far from it. I just wasn't expecting to see it when I got here. It just kind of caught me by surprise because I'd been out of the loop for many, many years. But I was frozen. What's Nintendo's excuse?
Let me back up a bit. Tomodachi Life is one of those life simulator type games, sort of like the old Tamagotchis, or I guess Nintendogs, but mashed up with The Sims and you put your Miis in it. Yeah, I don't really get the appeal either, but whatever, it's a modern video game where you wear something besides fatigues and do something besides gunning down anonymous foreigners, so I'll take it. Either way, it was a big hit in Japan, and at this point, Nintendo's broader international strategy, currently being summarized as, yeah, sure, maybe this will work, it's being ported over to the US, but not without some localization and other changes.
Speaking of which, I'm still waiting on Retro Game Challenge 2, guys. Come on, the first one was one of like my favorite things in forever. What's the holdup? I'd import it, but I don't speak Japanese.
RetroThinker, focus.
But anyway, one of the big changes in particular had to do with the way the game handled the mechanic of letting your Miis get married. See, in the original game, marriages were heterosexual only by program default. Male Miis could only partner up with female Miis and vice versa, but there was an exploitable quirk in the program that allowed one to tag male-designed Miis as female, letting players who chose to do so effectively enter their Miis into a same-sex marriage. According to Nintendo, the seemingly innocuous exploit could actually lead to more significant game-breaking bugs, so they fixed it as part of the English-language build of the game. Western Tomodachi Life players will not be able to trick the game into letting you enter Miis into a gay marriage. When this fix became public knowledge, some gamers were unhappy.
Wow, unhappy fans of an obscure Japanese import game. Shocking.
Well, yes, Ivan, but since marriage equality remains a hot-button issue, more than just gamers started to weigh in on the situation. With the story gaining media traction, Nintendo felt compelled to answer via one of the stupidest press releases in the history of an industry known for stupid press releases.
Nintendo never intended to make any form of social commentary with the launch of Tomodachi Life. The relationship options in the game represent a playful alternate world, rather than a real-life simulation. We hope all our fans will see that Tomodachi Life was intended to be a whimsical and quirky game, and that we were not trying to provide social commentary.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. To be clear, you can see what they were trying to say, that the bug fix was just that, a bug fix, and that they didn't intend for it to be representative of their company's stance on the issue one way or the other.
Okay, but when worded like that, it makes it sound like they had to take even the accidental appearance of homosexuality among Miis out because the very presence of gay or bisexual people is in itself a political statement.
Well, exactly. Sorry, folks, your kind aren't welcome here. Not because we've got something against you, but because some people do, and just by being here, you make a statement. Because you're not normal enough to simply exist without also having some extra meaning attached to you.
Did they at least end up walking it back?
Of course they walked it back. They're a major company that wants to do business with young people in the 21st century United States, and that means you do not get to look even remotely homophobic. Even if the issue is just that the game was originally developed for Japan and Japanese culture is in a different place than the US when it comes to gay rights. They said they were sorry, they committed to diversity, it'll be there when they make another one, yada yada yada. All the stuff they should have said to begin with that could have avoided this whole mess.
You think they could have avoided a...
Hold that thought, Ivan. Sounds like blunt object is coming in over target.
I'm coming up on the mouth! Hit the button as soon as you pass the opening!
And we have touchdown.
Ugh! Yeah, we do. And I am definitely in the right place.
What do you see, Anti-Thinker?
The whole interior of the cabin is pixelized. Lousy with vidspawn. Something went down here, and it's definitely related to the video dimension.
Can you handle them?
Anti-Thinker, the vidspawn, can you handle them? Oh yeah, I got this. Go back to talking about your tomato douches.
You were saying, Ivan?
So you honestly think Nintendo could have avoided this being controversial just by apologizing up front and not bothering with the stupid social commentary line?
Well, there still would have been a bit of hit and miss, but at the end of the day, it's maybe a cult hit import at most. And yeah, people would have complained and it still would have been an issue, but Nintendo of America would have had an easy out that they wouldn't even have to bring up themselves. It's a Japanese game and gay marriage isn't really a thing there yet. Certainly not to the degree it is in other developed nations. There'd have been some discussion, Kotaku would have run a couple more lifestyle pieces than usual on the general subject, and American gamers would have had a brief moment of self-congratulatory backpatting for being on the progressive side of something for a change.
So do you buy the whole game-breaking bug thing?
I don't like to go around making lying accusations, but it doesn't sound like the most plausible explanation to me, no.
So what do you think happened?
Well, again, if it was something other than the official story, I'd imagine it'd be pretty simple. It wasn't supposed to be in there to begin with because, regrettably, othering, erasing, and otherwise treating gay people as non-existent is sort of par for the course for mainstream family entertainment in Japan. But people found a way, and this particular bug became a thing that the game was known for. And it wouldn't surprise me if a company like Nintendo miscalculated that the bad press decision would be, as in they might have been worried that the outrage would be over the presence of gay marriage, not the other way around. I mean, after all, this is still pretty recent stuff, all things considered.
So wait, it's a concrete enough part of modern life for the backlash to matter, but it's also new enough that you can't believe it was just a PR fuck-up?
Well, yeah. You know what's kind of a paradox? We all know that real, lasting social change is a gradual process that never seems to move as fast as we'd like, unless, of course, you're the guys who don't want it to move at all, but we also know that the big signpost moments of evolution of movements can come into being really fast, especially from the perspective of those experiencing them from an outside source. Social progress is more often than not a conflict, and through the fog of war, sometimes you can't see something until it's right in front of you. That's how a lot of the modern West experienced what we now call the gay rights movement. The secretive nature of the community throughout the 20th century meant that cultural flashpoints would seem to jump out of nowhere for folks not otherwise engaged with it. Take, for example, what's thought of as the beginning of the movement itself, the Stonewall riots in 1969. During a then routine incident of police harassment at a bar in Greenwich Village, a crowd had gathered. So goes the story, a woman being led away against her will by the police was clubbed over the head with a baton. As the beatings continued, she looked at the assembled crowd and asked, "Why don't you guys do something?" And then they did something. The resulting riots lasted into the night and touched off similar demonstrations for days later, and the movement that grew out of it continues to fight and make gains today. One minute the world was one day, and then bam, the world was different. Why don't you guys do something?
Inspiring, but how does it apply here?
Well, in this particular case, it's a social issue component to the bigger, broader problem of Nintendo needing to learn to live in a modern environment and actually be aware of its immediate surroundings. The whole no social commentary thing still would have been bullshit stance, say, even 10 years ago, but it would have been the same bullshit you could expect from every company in a similar situation. Contentious issue, don't rock the boat, let society do what it's doing, and adjust to the new paradigms as they emerge. But over the last few years, this particular movement has had a bunch of those galvanizing leap-forward moments. Western culture, popular culture in particular, has come down very decisively on the side of equality. Sure, there's plenty of backward-ass people in this country that still hate gay people or think it's sinful or whatever, but they're in a shrinking minority, and most of them have now absorbed that it's no longer cool or even remotely okay to voice that kind of bigotry out loud. For the most part, at least. And it's only gonna get better. Likewise, when it comes to corporations like game companies, we have no position is no longer an acceptable position. This is no longer one of those issues you get to take a neutral stance on. You're either for equality or you're against it, and if you want to be relevant heading into the next decade, your answer should probably be for. And if you're making a life simulation game where coupling and romantic relationships are among the options, the LGBTQ parts of that equation are something you have to consider and should probably make room for.
The world moved on, and Nintendo should have been aware of that. They should have planned accordingly, and that they didn't is another sign that they are just not plugged in to the general popular culture the way that they should be to run a modern technological company. In many ways, this was a test of their commitment to staying relevant in a changing world, and they failed. I hope they don't continue to fail.
Guys, I'm getting a crazy VidSpawn reading from your sector. Yup, it's a biggie.
Holy cow, that's a level 5!
We've been numbering these things?
I have.
Anti-Thinker? Now might be a really good time for you to get anti. I'm always anti.
Oh, thank God you've done away with that beast. I knew someone would eventually... the Anti-Thinker?
Dr. Beardo?
How do you know who I am?
How do you know who I am?
I watched the show.
What are you doing down here?
Why, the same thing you are, my boy. Looking for clues about the Lost Cross. Who do you think made the information find its way into your searches?
Are you guys hearing this? Yep.
10-4.
Yeah, sounds like kind of a reach, honestly, but we're going with it for expediency's sake.
I'd hope to suss out if anything about this godforsaken place has to do with the Lost Cross, and have an answer for you, but that vid-spawn behemoth blocked any means of escape.
Did you at least find anything out?
I found that.
Huh. Yeah, I got nothing.
What do we have down there, Anti-Thinker?
Nothing. It's just a big carving, Chief, of like a shield or something.
What kind of shield?
I don't know. The kind from Zelda.
Zelda? Zelda?
Just the shield? That makes no sense.
Wait. Which shield?
Come again?
Which Zelda shield is it? There's at least 2 main ones.
I don't know. The fancier one? Wait a second.
I got it.
You got what? Where's the cross?
That's just it. It's not telling us where the Lost Cross is, it's telling us
What the Lost Cross is.
In the original NES Zelda, Link's shield had a golden cross on it, but when the series moved to the Super NES, the cross...
Was lost.
They must have taken Link's cross and used it as part of the binding spell. Well, great. We know what we're looking for. Anything about where?
I don't know, but I do know somebody we can ask.